So you want to make a Deku cosplay. Would have been better if I had a chair. I want to do the Captain America stuff. Anyways, now you think I would have a part video like I did with the Megatron video of each part I made. Well, I didn't learn my lesson from there, but unfortunately, I lost the first half of the whole cosplay. I was kind of sad because I did make a lot I did record a lot for the Midoriya cosplay, but I was just gonna talk over it, and also I have clips of what I made, what was the remnants of what the video is gonna be about on my TikTok. Go ahead and go follow that, and Instagram. All links in the description down below, and all templates and files will be down in the description below as well. Now I'm gonna be piecing some of my TikTok clips and just talking over it of what I did, a brief little summary, but in-depth videos on like the Air Force gloves, the Gamma boots, the leg armor, those, and the Gamma mask. Well, I did a video on the Gamma mask actually, I forgot about that, but those three main parts, there's 3 separate videos on it that are not mine, but I got the templates from Lawrence Iwood from iwoodcosplay.com. I don't know, I forgot. Everything will link in the description down below, but also Lawrence Iwood. I've been following this guy ever since, what, 2019, 2018, when I saw his, when he made for his cosplay, and I just stuck with him for those years. Yes, you have to pay for these files, but there are some good free ones. I know Oda makes some, and then some other creators make some really good free files. Go ahead and check those out. Whatever you like to do, you like to do free, and you don't have money for this, do free. I would suggest that. But if you have a little bit of money, you get a little bit extra detail and extra fine alignment. Go buy a pattern, or you can always make a pattern yourself. What you see on the old anime, because the anime does change from shot to shot. Anyways, further ado, let's get started with the video. Alright, so here's the TikToks I have made. Yes, we're gonna watch them. I'm doing a little voiceover because I can't use the audio because I will get copyrighted. Like I'm making any money from this, but anyways, we are sewing, and this project, I forgot when I did this back in 2022, how much I hated sewing, and so some of this project is me hating sewing. But as you can see, testing the legs, Lawrence Iwood does have an in-depth video on most of these. We'll leave a link in the description down below. Make sure to test your armor pieces and stuff, because it's best to be safe than sorry. Then we're making the Air Force gloves. Now unfortunately, after the con, they did kind of break. But I do want to make new ones. I kind of know what happened is because I glued it on the fabric, and also the first time I made gloves. I genuinely hate gloves. It took me about 4 tries. Oh, it took me 1 try to do one glove, and then 4 other tries to make the other glove. So that's why some of my gloves, the stitching isn't pretty good. But then I 3D printed the knuckle pieces and a little dot, and then the 2mm details on those black parts on his Air Force gloves. But I honestly really like them. I'm gonna keep the gloves, but the Air Force cuff part I'm gonna remake. And then here's the suit I got from Easy Cosplay. I believe this took at least like a month to get to my house, which kind of sucks because I really wanted to work on the project. But as you can see, it's me unboxing a bunch of stuff. I really wish I had the videos of me just not talking, because the audio would get me copyrighted. But I bought the suit. It was like $200. I know, kind of steep. You go ahead and make your own jumpsuit if you want to, custom fit. But I decided to keep the cape. In the future, I'm gonna get fabric for that, and also the Zeta suit jumpsuit is the only thing, and the belt is what I really needed from this. Yeah, as you can see, a bunch of stuff is very loose or either tight, had to hang down. As you see, those arm wraps I did not use. I thought I would use them, but I decided to buy my own. I will talk about that later. But the belt is literally hanging down, but so a lot of things have to be velcroed and glued, and a bunch of other stuff needs to be tested. Thankfully, I'm a little bit more mobile than my last suits in this thing. And here I was talking about the arm wraps, how it barely even covered my arms, even compared to my own Air Force gloves and cuff parts. Also, I do want to remake those cuff parts on the bicep because they're just tubes. You'll see in the future, in the future clip. But anyways, this is the whole jumpsuit, and here's my old vigilante suit and how those were made out of foam and how those are a little bit uncomfortable. But since I use fabric, it's a lot better. Right after this, I got the suit and tested it. I did the Gamma boots, which I bought these shoes off of Amazon. Actually, really
better than the last ones I had, and I kind of salvaged them for Megatron and a buttload of other cosplays. But as you can see, we're cutting out some foam. All the foam is used is about 4mm, 6mm, and 2mm. The only time I used 10 was with the leg armor top pieces and the knee pads, so that's basically kind of all you need. You don't even need like a full roll, which I kind of went a little overboard. But here's me test fitting it. These are the best GAM boots I have to date. Now for this one is I wanted to make the kind of effects piece that SH Figure Arts makes on their figure. Kind of wanted this cosplay to be like a human action figure. I wanted to add a bunch of Fajin, but I didn't have that for the time. But I am going to do a little more in-depth video on this later for the Black Whip, so you guys can make it for yourselves.
Alright, so we have one part of the Air Force gloves. Black Whip is done drying. Simple paint job, nothing too crazy. Might add a little bit more black, but let's turn it on, see how she looks. Here we go. Oh! Now it's a much brighter in the camera than it is actually in person, but this is Black Whip on Midoriya. So I'm probably gonna mount this battery pack in my forearm. Probably gonna fix this cable because he does have a gauntlet, so I could probably just build it up in here, or I don't know, something. But this battery pack, or I might elongate the cable so that way it runs all the way down to my arm into the pouch or the belt, so that way this Black Whip can be powered on. Delaware Smash! Black Whip! I can do a lot of poses with this. This is actually pretty cool for Black Whip. Make the arm thingies that he has. Now this is from the costume I bought a while back. I cut it up because I'm not going to use this thing, and also it's a good template for it. This is very stretchy, by the way, which I really like. I could theoretically just cut this, probably use the excess fabric, kind of wrap my thing around this, but you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. So we have 10mm foam here, and we're gonna draw this as a template. We're gonna add a little bit of extra material on here just to see actually how much I need, because my biceps do flex.
Bear with me, guys. My workshop was very cluttered during this project, but I decided to cut these on a bevel. Make sure your knife is sharp. I think I did replace the blade on this, so thankfully I didn't have to sharpen it as much. But cutting out 2mm foam, you guys already know how to do this. Come on, it's Cosplay 101. Yeah, I basically just traced that cutout I had. I do want to update the next one I make because I really do want to add some more three-dimensional shape to it. But that's for a later project. I will do an update on this very soon, hopefully. But you know me, with my upload schedule, it's not very relevant at this time. I don't have a schedule for this, but always keep your blade sharp. I actually did kind of cut these edges just squared and then use a rotary tool in the next clip to round out some of this and create a bevel. Next thing I would want to do is actually like double layer. I saw this somewhere on I think TikTok or Instagram. Someone actually double layer these and like tremold it to make it look like an actual like three-dimensional shape. That's like what I'm trying to get here. But that's a related project, and yeah, we're gonna just continue cutting some foam.
All right, so this is the top. All right, so as you can see on this piece, around to the corners, and I did sand a little bit of a bevel in the edges because I wanted more of a 3D element kind of shape instead of just some tube. But compared to this one, see harsh edges right there, where you're a little bit more rounded, more sand and bevel on the edge, and this one's just a flat edge. So let's get to work on these. I got finished with one arm brace or bicep piece cuff thingy. As you see, inside is very, very terrible, but it's not that it doesn't matter because it's gonna be on our arms majority of the time. It's gonna be my arm, so it's gonna be covered. So this Looks pretty smooth and clean. There is some wrinkles in here, but it's supposed to be fabric, so I'm kind of glad there's a little bit of wrinkles. There's a little bit of that fabric kind of vibe instead of just being solid foam painted out of white. But I am so glad I went with this. So what I did was, I didn't use hot glue because all I had was black hot glue. So I just hot glued the inside of these kind of excess fabric, but I used super glue on these edge pieces, and I lined it up with that beveled edge I glued it onto. So it's one continuous seam. And also that seam is gonna be hidden most of the time. Especially if I have my arms down or when I'm posing, it's gonna be a little bit, because my arm's gonna come into this kind of piece. Kind of a smart design though, to have it like that. So this seam's gonna be hidden. And yeah, we'll go finish the other piece. One point I do want to cover, if you are doing kind of some fabric wrap over some foam and you don't want to sew, what I did was basically create a hem or an edge. What I did was basically just flip this fabric over because it was very ugly. I didn't have fabric scissors, and also I didn't have like a proper way to cut the fabric. So it's basically, I'm just gonna wrap it again with super glue, fold this fabric onto itself so it creates like a hem. And that way we have a sort of a seamless kind of, well, like a one straight edge instead of some janky edge. So let's finish this. And the last part to do after this is cut that 2mm detail trim piece that he has all over his arms and all his suits. But this one's for the Zeta suit, so we're gonna do that one trim. Thankfully it's one trim. Paint that yellow and super glue it on here. I got the second one done. I'm gonna trim out some of this excess fabric and we should be done. These are the armbands are looking.
Now we're moving on to the little trim piece here. It's made out of 2mm foam, and this is the exact same paint I used my Wolverine suit. If you guys want to go check that out, go ahead. And we're using good old super glue here because I didn't want to use super glue because all I had was black, and I was afraid if it showed, it's going to show a little bit of a black spot, and I didn't want to do that. So we're just going to use our old friend super glue. And for people who know, I talked about this a lot. I hate super glue. I genuinely just hate working with super glue because it gets on your fingers and stuff. But thankfully, I didn't mess up. At least on these cuff parts, I think there's like one of them that I just had to, you know, fix up a little bit. But as you can see, I cut it way too big and stuff. But anyways, you can just trim it. It's nothing too crazy. But if you are painting, make sure you're painting in a like really good warm area, because these things took like 2-3 days just to dry because it was so cold outside. Now here's me making my own little pattern. So if you guys want to know how to make your own like forearm pattern for custom armor and stuff, this is how you do it. And you don't want to pay for something. Aluminum foil and duct tape. All I had was masking tape at the time, so I just used that. Use whatever is available to you. Try to keep the tape at least nice little seam, kind of flush layer. No, eliminate as much wrinkles as you can. But anyways, I got some cheap aluminum foil from the dollar store and some masking tape. This is some really good masking tape. I'm kind of sad I used it for this. But anyways, I was trying to find the pattern that I used for my old Wolverine suit, but I think I told myself, oh, I wouldn't need a forearm pattern anymore, so I threw it away. So I'm keeping this one. I'm gonna make this out of 2mm foam. That way it has still like flexibility. It's gonna get wrapped either way, but I want something for the wraps that I use. I ordered some cheap wraps off Amazon and painted those, but wrapped it as well for the forearm gauntlets that he uses. And then right after you're done wrapping your whole arm, you're going to want to get a nice little marker, make some registration marks, make sure you know which one is which. I did this on my left arm because I'm right-hand dominant, for those who are wondering. But and also cutting out with scissors, be safe with this, don't cut yourself. And if you do, that's not my fault. I warned you guys. As you can see, making marks. Right after you're all free, make sure you get some breathing in there, and actually cut some darts. Those are the little slits at the bottom are, so they can actually fold and create a little curve on the forearm. Well, you guys already know the drill. We use 2mm foam to cut out, and then for this, since it was so thin to glue, I didn't want to risk the seams breaking, so I trimmed out a nice little scrap of 2mm foam that goes to the length, the top and the bottom. Is it the length? I don't know, but that goes from the top and the bottom to that seam. That way I glued it on there, and it also that makes the seam a little more stronger. And I actually did have to cut on the seam to get my thumb through, because if it wasn't, it's gonna tear and rip. But anyways, it's gonna get covered anyway, so no one's gonna see. So right after we had that, some excess red fabric from, I think it's from my friend when he did a Spider-Man costume back. This is like really old, probably like 2 years old. But anyways, I used some of that to cut off a sleeve and attach it to the old 2mm Gauntlet thing kind of base that I made. And I didn't put it here, but I made a little pocket for that battery pack to hold into the forearm. So I can just roll this up. In the future, I want to put Velcro for this to attach it at least to the cuff part on the bicep. But these are honestly really good. And right here, you're going to see me putting on the cuff over the sleeve part. So this is the base for it. Then I wrapped it with some cheap wraps that I found on Amazon. All links will be in the description down below. I attach all these with hot glue sticks. Yes, hot glue. I love hot glue, but it failed on me. So next time we're gonna have to sew on Velcro to some of these parts, but that's for a later project. And here we are test fitting, making sure everything fits, and it's happy what I've got. And honestly, it was really good for what I got. For some wraps too, instead of it being made out of foam like my old Vigilante Deku cosplay, these are actual wraps. And in a later clip, I'm going to show I did some little bit more extra detail for this cosplay. Now here we have both the arms done, and in the later clips you're gonna see I did a little bit extra more detail to this to make them actually pop instead of just one uniform color. But these actually came out really good, way better than the ones I did last time. It's just me running down some poses. And also, tip for some cosplays, make sure to run down like some jumping, some punching, some do whatever to make sure to ensure your cosplay is up to your standards, or make sure it doesn't rip, when you do a single pose. And then right here, I am cutting out some of this sponge foam I had left over from the leg armor. This is 1-inch upholstery foam, by the way. You get it at Walmart. I'm cutting it into this kind of, how do I say this? Like trapezoid block shape. Looks like a Tesla Cybertruck. But anyways, I cut these out because there are some details on the knee pads that I really want to do. I attached these with hot glue, and I wrapped it with the same fabric I used for the gloves, so at least some of them are uniform color. But over time, hot glue wasn't the best option to glue this to, but now I know. But I was kind of doing a con crunch, so don't be like me. I would actually rather make it out of like some foam. You can do a solid foam, but I'm probably just gonna make the box and then version 2 to actually, get it right. Because when I wrap the foam, this upholstery foam, you can actually see some of the imperfection and cuts that I did. But I only know where the imperfections are. You guys should see the whole cosplay. But now you guys know. right here, I got done wrapping it, cutting all the edges off. This was tricky to wrap actually, so I recommend cutting some corners. And in this next clip, you're going to see me gluing on to the actual knee pad piece. And thankfully I had black hot glue. You know, black hot glue saves me sometimes, but sometimes I want the clear hot glue. Thankfully the black hot glue came in clutch because the back part is black, so it all decided to hide in that black fabric. Also, Hobby Lobby sells black hot glue sticks now, so go get you some.
Alright, excuse the mess, but as you can see, you finish up the gauntlet. As you can see, from so far away, you kind of tell it's kind of wrapped, but closer, you kind of tell if it is. But what I've been doing doesn't take me long at all. Actually, it's a little just dry brushing on them. But I just did the whole thing, just dry brushed with some black acrylic paint. I was gonna use spray paint, but that I couldn't control the spray flow of it enough. Ideally, you would need like a airbrush. I don't have one, and I don't want to learn one on the spot because I'm con crunching. This is I only have a week basically. I have 6 days to get this finished. So yeah, but honestly, when it wraps, those edges are gonna be more prominent, and I'm happy about that. And we're just taking a regular old sponge brush here with some cheap black acrylic paint, and we're just dry brushing the edges of it. And then this is honestly, yeah, I'm so glad I did this. You can't really see. But this is way better than just the plain red. I was gonna leave it plain red, but you can actually see the different layers of it. And I like how some parts where I thought there were mistakes, but the darker, more black kind of edges makes it look like that anime ink kind of vibe, which I like. I'm happy. I'm very happy with these. And here's the comparison. These ones are way better than these ones, so I gotta do the same with this one. This is no longer than a 10-minute process plus the drying, so this all can be done less than 10 minutes. But here's the difference side by side.
Now the suit is basically done. Sorry I didn't have any extra clips to show you, but I lost all of them. I'm kind of upset that I did. Because I recorded everything down to the bit in the first half. But then here's me putting the whole suit on, because I did attach Velcro to that belt. I attached a lot of Velcro to the suit. I actually needed help with some of my friends to help me put on the leg armor Velcro, because that's at least a 2-person, or if you're doing it by yourself, use a mirror please and a marker. And I put on this little string fishing line with duct tape so I can zip it by myself, but I eventually took that off when I had to go to the con. And then the suit, I did not, I guess I didn't actually record it, but I actually did put a little smoke machine. I'll leave the exact one I put in, I used in the link description down below. But then I had tubes running down from that big pouch in the back of the belt all the way. I cut a hole through that in the suit all the way down to at least where my knees are, so I can get a smoke screen effect. I will update that in the future for version 2 because some of the smoke didn't produce as much as I wanted to, and also it kind of melted like my tube part, so might invest in that better and long-lasting smoke machine. But either way, I clipped on the remote to the belt and everything. So this is all by myself, by the way, so I'm surprised I actually got that. I actually just had to sit down for that, and it's the first time I'm actually wearing a wig for this cosplay, and it was actually not that bad. My friend, thank you to my friend who helped me. Well, she did all the work for that, wig, so W friend for that. But yeah, this is me putting it on the whole suit, the Zeta suit. Honestly, my favorite suit out of the whole anime of My Hero. Unfortunately, it did end. That was so sad. But stay tuned for more clips in the future.
show the same angle if you record it. We're here at Sac Anime. Gotta fix the tape.
Now, I wish I had more clips to show you, but here's some pictures that we took at SAC Anime SAC Anime Winter 2026. So I'm glad this is the first cosplay I ever did for 2026. And yeah, so this is not the end of this cosplay. There will be some updates. Until then, I don't know when I'm gonna upload it. I'm gonna be so serious, but hopefully in the next couple months. But I'm also working on another cosplay, so I have another. And if you guys follow the social media, I already spoiled it, but it's gonna be Kaiju number 8. Yes, Kaiju number 8, the Kaiju number 8. So I'm very excited to do that one. Anyways, hope you guys like this video. Come like, subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Also, all links in the description down below. All materials and videos and templates and all of that other stuff, social medias, will be down in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.